It has been 3 decades since the coming of participatory democracy in South Africa, the continent's most advanced economy. This week, South Africa looks back at its 30 years of democratic experience, which was heralded with the release of its iconic Pan-African leader, the late Nelson Mandela, who also served as the first president of a free and democratic South Africa. Let's take excerpts from this address delivered today by the country's current deputy president, Paul Mashatile.
Thinking about the theme of this lecture, which is inspiring the youth in South Africa to imagine a better and prosperous future, I cannot help but remember the role of young people, or rather the role that young people played during the 1976 uprising. Young people in South Africa have always been at the forefront of struggle, playing key roles in the African National Congress, the United Democratic Front, in Umkhonto weSizwe, in various youth congresses in the country, students' organizations, and many other formations, including street committees, that served as platforms for change and social justice in our country. Equally, in April, we remember Chris Hani, the commander of Umkhonto weSizwe, who was gunned down on the eve of the elections on the 10th of April 1993. His death sent shocking waves and almost jeopardized our transition at the time. However, under the leadership of President Nelson Mandela, the ANC prevailed and brought calm to our nation at the most critical time. This underscores the significance of leadership, as difficult times test leaders and define them by their ability to make the right decisions. As we commemorate 30 years of freedom and democracy, we must emulate our predecessors by steadfastly pursuing and safeguarding the achievement of our freedom and democracy. We must act and act decisively. For this reason, we must invest in building a nation that has the necessary capacity and skills to contribute to our developmental paradigm. In this regard, working through the Human Resource Development Council, the Human Resource Development Council is a committee that the President appointed me to chair in government. And this committee works together with the private sector, with universities, with civil society, including trade unions, and of course, other arms of government. Program Director, we have recently cemented various compacts that are aimed at ensuring that as partners we deal with our agreed program of development. The importance of investing in knowledge is also because we find ourselves in a modern, developing knowledge economy driven, amongst others, by artificial intelligence. Professor Mpedi, your institution has been one of the leading institutions in artificial intelligence. I commend you for investing in this important development, and I believe the rest of us should follow suit. We too have decided that we must teach robotics, coding at an early childhood development stage so that the children are ready for the future. But more importantly, they must be globally competitive, particularly in this era of the digital economy. I equally want to acknowledge the good work that the Premier of Gauteng, the great Gauteng province, and his executive are doing to create much needed opportunities for the youth. As they say, CP is pani. And overwhelmingly, the youth of Gauteng responds to say, Nasi is pani. This and many similar initiatives in KwaZulu-Natal, Eastern Cape, in the Northwest, they've got what they call Tunsa Lerole. And there are many such initiatives that our government, particularly provincial governments, are embarking on. And we are willing to go an extra mile through these initiatives to build a better life for all our people. Ladies and gentlemen, over the past few decades, the South African government has taken significant steps to address historical injustices and strive towards achieving social cohesion and socio-economic empowerment for all its citizens. Equally, the government has made significant progress in addressing socio-economic inequalities through social welfare programs in housing, healthcare, education, and social services. The implementation of the broad-based Black Economic Empowerment, BBEE policies, has also promoted economic transformation because our goal is to ensure that those who were marginalized become part of the mainstream economy. To determine our commitment to building an inclusive and growing economy, we have raised so far 1.5 trillion rands in new investment commitments, of which over 500 billion rand has already flowed into the economy. We have made further strides in addressing load shedding, ensuring security, enhancing logistics systems, and improving ports and rail networks. And I would like to assure you, ladies and gentlemen, that there is a national plan, or rather plans are in place nationally to ensure that load shedding is ended this year. I know you don't believe me. Professor Mpedi, they think I'm electioneering. No, it is true. That's why I'm not saying it will end before elections. I'm saying this year. The Minister of Electricity has been working very hard. Some of you might have heard him saying he's working himself out of a job because he's going to end load shedding. So I said to him, no, you are not working yourself out of a job, because once you have ended load shedding, you must plan for another 10 years. You must invest in new generation, make sure Eskom build new power stations, ensure that renewables are implemented, solar, wind, making sure that we can also use gas to power. So there are various initiatives that must come into the mainstream. And I said to him, your job is not ending when you end load shedding this year. Program Director, we are on track to accelerate land redistribution so that Black South Africans must also have access to land, including farmland. As we speak now, Black South Africans now own around 25% of farmland and have supported about 1,000 Black industrialists in Black-owned firms. Despite these achievements, challenges remain in achieving a more inclusive and equitable society. For example, the triple challenges of poverty, unemployment, and inequality as well as corruption in various government entities, parastatals, and even the private sector, continue to pose obstacles to the nation's progress. In addressing these challenges, we are conscious that as government we must strengthen social compacts by working together with all sectors in our society.